I grew up in Anacortes, Washington, which is just north of Seattle, just south of Vancouver. It's on an island called Fidalgo Island, and a lot of the economy there is based on fishing. There's water everywhere. I spent a lot of time down on the water, flipping rocks, looking at sea creatures, that kind of thing. I kind of did the regular kid thing there. Here's me in kindergarten. We're surrounded by a lot of water, so there are ferries. I'd flip over boards, get snakes, and I kept those in aquariums. Here's me on a ferry boat. Just kind of the standard kid junk, I played t-ball, all that stuff. Well, when I was a kid, my mom made me a dish using instant noodles, and that's kind of the beginning of the story. She'd heat up some oil in a pan, and then she'd drop in some noodles that had been cooked kind of al dente, like 2 minutes instead of 3. They'd been drained and they had seasoning already, and would fry them until the edges just got a little crisp. And after that, she would drop in a couple eggs and kind of scramble it up until it was all done. And it was really good. It was like a breakfast she'd make me when I was young, and I really enjoyed it. We had a store in Anacortes called Prairie Market, and at this store, they had a product, aside from the Top Ramen, this is one of their ads, they had this. This is roasted ramen, Top Ramen roasted ramen, and it went off the market, and we had to find it elsewhere. And where did we go? We went down to Seattle and went to Wajimaya, which is a large Japanese grocery down there. While I was there, they told us this is probably the best replacement for it. And I also saw tons of other kinds of instant noodles and all the packaging and foreign writing on them. That's really what got me interested in instant noodles initially. In 2002, I decided I wanted to make a list of the instant noodles I liked and the ones I didn't. This was going to be a personal little blog that I kind of threw out there and shared, just so I would know what to buy again at the store and what not to. This was the first one that I added on there, and I thought it was okay. I just didn't think that it was very adventurous, so I guess not, it's pretty domestic. But then I thought I'd do the same thing with hot sauce, and I did so for quite a while. I started in 2002, and then I did maybe like 30 or 40 reviews and stopped. Then I did like 280 hot sauce reviews. And so the Ramen Rater was all but dead. In late 2009, I met the girl of my dreams, and in early 2010, we got married. And it was a really cool time for us, and we moved into a little area called Edmonds, Washington, next to a big Asian grocery trifecta in the area, and it was really quite nice. And it rekindled my interest in instant noodles, and this is where it kind of picked up. This is Wei Limen, and this one I actually did absolutely incorrectly. I'm more than happy to admit that. This one is a separate soup and broth, and I did not like this really put together. So, yeah. A couple years later, I'd completed about 400 reviews, and I got a phone call one day from a nice lady from Nongshim in California, and they invited us to come down and meet them and check out their facilities, and it was really, really cool. Really nice people, really neat place. Did my first TV interview. That's really funny because right here, I'm so freaking nervous. I'm sweating bullets, but it was kind of like a sign of things to come, and it was a really good experience. I also, in that year, found a thing about Coca noodles in my news feed, and it got me thinking I should see about contacting companies to try instant noodles, and it worked. And I do interviews with them and do special series of just those brands. There's also the fact that a lot of people call me the god of ramen. They think I came up with it. I did not. This is written on this newspaper by the writer of this article. And I mentioned it a couple times and it stuck. And that's where the whole god of ramen things come from. I've always been humbled by that writer in South Korea would say that I would be known as the god of ramen. The 3 big top 10s came out that year: the top 10 list, the top 10 spiciest varieties list, and my bottom 10, which were my least favorite varieties. It was a pretty big year for me. I did a local news magazine called Evening with an NBC affiliate. Did a show called God of Patna in Japan. And I did a show called the Kultwo Veranda Show, which was in South Korea. There's a comedy team called Kultwo, and they were currently working with a company on a product that I really, really enjoyed. And then TNT Market did a special promo with my list without my permission. But it ended up just fine, and in the end, I still have this poster on my wall. But the big thing that was crazy was about March, and while on the top 10, the Taiwanese varieties were not on the top 10. They were on the bottom 10, and that was not received too well by the Taiwanese. To be honest, I'd not reviewed a wide array of instant noodle products from Taiwan, but I told them, well, if you're mad, send me some of your best stuff. And over the next little while, they started to. And I got to try stuff, and I found out why their stuff was so good and why they enjoyed it so much. And that ended up with that year coming out with the top 10 list of just Taiwanese varieties, my first country-based list. And still pretty much every year I come out with a Taiwanese top 10. In 2013, my Koali's Penang White Curry Noodle made my annual top 10 global list, and it made the news over there, and that was really something else. Well, they decided to contact us and said, hey, you want to come visit Malaysia and try all the different foods that we have here in Penang? And we accepted. It was our first huge Asian visit, and this was the first thing we saw was this big sign that had my logo on it. And here's when we met everybody at the factory. The factory was a really neat place. Really nice people. One thing too is they had ferries because Penang is an island. Anacortes was on an island. We had ferries. There was a refinery. They had a refinery. It was really something else. But the main crux of the visit was to try all these different foods. And it was really very immersive experience. In 2015, my son Miles was born. Also in 2015, I got wind from some photos people were sending me, and then I found this video. And this guy here had opened up a store where he sold instant noodles that were on my top 10 lists. And while at first I was kind of irked about the fact that he's making money off of me, basically, but then on the other hand, it's like, wow, I'm really that accepted over there? That's humbling. That's quite an honor. So I thought that was a really neat part of it. So I decided to not be so irked about it after all. But it was really a surprising thing, especially seeing myself mentioned in foreign media so much. In 2015, I got to visit Thailand, and this was a visit to the Mama Noodles factories. Also, it was during their European Distributors Convention, right before a big food expo. And I got to meet people from all over Europe, as well as all the people who worked at Mama Noodles, and that was really neat. Here I got to visit their factories, and yeah, it was a really good experience. And in 2016 and 17, I got to visit Taiwan. Tried my hand at folding noodles like these folks are, but I had zero luck. But I did kind of get the hang of flipping noodles. These are sun-dried noodles that dry. Yeah, they dry in the sun. It's pretty neat, and they're quite good. I also did a short form kind of award show during a food convention. And I also handed out noodles. That was a lot of fun, dishing up little cups of noodles for people to sample. But no trip to Taiwan is complete without visiting the night markets. And the folks from Mom's Dry Noodle really showed us a great time and showed us around, and it was really neat. And in 2017, my daughter Miriam was born. So the Ramen Rater Select was going to be a product that I, in collaboration with another company, was going to make this really neat product that would be kind of indicative of something that I wanted to have happen. And it was kind of hyped up a bit. All I knew was that I really wanted it to be a creamy tom yum noodle, and I thought it'd be really cool. And they wanted to put my face on it. I thought that was rad, and I was all over it. Well, we kept working on package design, I kind of had my 2 cents in on a lot of the stuff. Not so much on the actual product itself, but more of like the image, which honestly I don't think was all that great. But it was really neat. It seemed like it was really actually happening. I was holding this stuff in my hands, As it turned out, the noodle reacted with the packaging, and the packaging was pretty crummy. It wanted to fall apart. The noodle was okay, but the directions were completely wrong, and unfortunately, it just didn't come to pass. And it also turns out that the guy who initially contacted me about making a product, it turned out he had an investor, and he took the investors way more of their money than he should have, I guess, and that was that. But that's the story of the Ramen Rater Select. It could have been great. It could have been a contender. But unfortunately, it just never went anywhere, and I've got a box on my shelf, and that's probably about it. Well, here's how the site looks nowadays. It's gone through a lot of iterations of going and looking like something slapped together to putting it on Blogger, on Blogspot, WordPress.com, and then finally self-hosting. And I'm pretty happy with it these days. And my review style has changed a lot. If you want to see all about how I review, I did a special video on that, which you can find in my review number 5000 post. So a couple years ago, I was given the reins of a group called Ramen Junkies. I had a friend who had it, and he was just like, there's so many people joining, I can't handle it. So I got a crew of people together, a bunch of moderators, and I called them Section 42. And it's because of a passage out of this particular book I found fascinating from Momofuku Ando. Think, and think again. When I beat my brains out, I pass blood in my urine. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It seems like something as a moderator you would possibly, get rid of. But this is YouTube. And in the past years, I have spent a lot of time changing from just using images, but to doing a lot of video. I found that doing video takes about the same time as not doing video. So I do video now. And as you can see, there's graphics at the beginning and the end. I love doing these intro and outro stop motions and different graphics. I do unboxing videos, and I also do spicy noodle eating videos. I've done a ton of these. Some of them have been absolutely violent, like this one. So one of the most popular things on my website are spicy noodle reviews. Well, after over 20 years of reviewing instant noodles and trying everything I get my hands on, no, I'm not sick of it yet, and I'm going to keep doing it. Actually, it took me so long to figure out what I was going to do for Review 5000 that I'm already up to 5120. So lots of stuff already ready to go, and I've got a lot of stuff that I've got over here that I'm going to be reviewing in the future. All sorts of new exciting stuff. I love doing what I do. And I really like the fact that a lot of people really enjoy checking out my reviews. So thanks to everybody who has been following, liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. And very big thanks to people who have donated to the Ramen Rater, whether monetarily or via sending instant noodles if they want to see me review. All right, well, hey, thank you very much. This has been Hans the Ramen Rater wishing you enjoyment of your noodles each and every day. Have a good one. Bye.